call the Mayor and Selectmen's meeting to order January 20th, 2015 at 7 p.m. We're pleased and happy to have Boy Scout Troop 25 here, all 4,000 of them. Happy to see you guys. And they are going to present the colors and lead us in the pledge. Boys, the floor is yours. Could we stand, please?
Scott salute.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Marvelous job. You're welcome to stay. You can leave. You can listen to all the stuff that happens. In about 15 minutes, you'll be bored to death. You'll be fist fighting each other. That's okay.
They're all getting their citizenship badge.
You are?
No.
Okay, item 3. Public comment. 3-minute max for anybody who has a comment or a question. Yes, sir.
Mr. Jerome has a question. For Mr. Cutler, last week I noticed Mr. Benoit and Ms. Lasko and yourself in the codification meeting. Could you explain to us a little bit about the codification and what that means?
Up on the codification.
We can bring it up on the codification.
Well, I was just hoping that he would maybe mention some of the highlights.
Bring it up
It'll
on the
come up under
codification.
codification.
Okay, since then I would ask Ms. Lasko, would you express anything of importance that you felt that was brought up during that meeting?
It will come up on the agenda item for General Government
Okay.
Committee codification.
I see.
That's why it's on the agenda.
I was just asking for a personal opinion, that's all. I
I'm
thought
sure
maybe,
they'll lovely give you an opinion when you get to item 6.
well then, in regard to any appropriations of funds to the facility committee, is that on the agenda this evening or going to be brought up?
Nope.
None. Well, thank you much, then I will leave myself no further comments or questions.
Outstanding. Okay. Item 4, approval of minutes, January 5th, 2015.
Move we approve as submitted. Second.
Motion made and second to approve as submitted. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Seeing none, all in favor of approve?
Sorry, I wouldn't hit that. Some mistake.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. Okay.
When I heard deletions, I was
Okay,
thinking,
well, that's okay.
I'm deleting myself.
Item 5, petitions and communication. Letter dated January 6, 2015, from NAGE, National Association of Government Employees, regarding successor contract negotiations, and a letter dated January 13, 2015, from UPSEU, United Public Service Employees Union, regarding a petition for new union representation. We received that letter, and the employees will vote on keeping the regular or present union or get involved with the UPEEGCP union. That'll be set up in the state of Connecticut under the auspices of Doug, our town administrator and myself will watch and see how they vote. And we can't negotiate until they approve a union right now, so that's a moot issue. Reports of standing committee, general government, codification.
Sure. We did have a meeting of the codification committee, and we're basically down to the end game here in terms of putting together what will be a overarching ordinance that would adopt the codification document that we have in hand. The purpose of the meeting is that we went through the entire code, that includes general legislation and administrative legislation, and we fine-tuned it in terms of things that would have to be done and put into the overarching ordinance to adopt that document. And for instance, there are a lot of ordinances that make reference to the city council, and the old city council, and to the city clerk and things of that nature. So Bill St. Audrey, our town attorney, has come up with language that would be incorporated to reflect that where it says either city council or city clerk or any reference to the old city, that it would now be referenced to the town clerk or the board of selectmen. So it's that kind of fine tuning that we're going through right now. I was charged with certain things. For instance, there's a whole page on regarding fees, and there's various fees that we collect, whether it's sewer fees or whether it's fees for permits of raffles and things of that nature. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sitting down with our town clerk to make sure that those fees are in line with what the fees that we charge. Are there other items? It really wasn't anything of major impact. Some of the things that we're going to have to do is we'll adopt the code, and there's, for instance, there's an old civil defense ordinance. Civil defense related to back, after World War II, when you had air raids and you had those types of things. And there's no reflection of what is currently emergency management. So we would adopt a new ordinance after this is adopted that would basically substitute the language of the new ordinance for the old ordinance. But that will only be done, and there's a number of instances like that where we would present to the town meeting where we would adopt a new ordinance to reflect and substitute for language that's already in the existing code. So that's where we stand. We're very close in terms of getting that, as I said, that overarching document that will be coming back to you for presentation before you decide whether you would schedule a town meeting to adopt the code in its entirety, including the charter. There's even a section relating to legislation from the Special Service District. So we have one more meeting
On the 27th?
on the 27th, and we hope to get that all accomplished at that time. And then it's just a matter of drafting the language, and I'm meeting with Town Attorney St. Audrey about that, and then we'll come back with that overarching ordinance for your consideration to present to the town meeting.
Thank you. You want to add anything, Renee, or did he cover everything?
No, you covered it.
Okay. Item 7, reports of special committees. Charter Revision Committee, that's going to be meeting
Next week, Wednesday night.
Wednesday or Thursday of next week. There'll be a Charter Revision meeting. And Public Facilities Study Group, anything on that?
Yes, they're meeting this Thursday night in the sense of the last meeting when they had a site visit, I think was your last meeting?
Before the last meeting.
Before the last meeting. And one of the things that we did is we requested the architect who's working on this high school project to just come, we sat down, Alan Ross and I sat down with him to see if he would go through, because the committee is basically making a determination to eliminate various options. One of the options would be is to remain here in this facility for the town hall. So to make a determination whether this is suitable for a town hall, Alan and I met with Jim Barrett from DRA Associates. We gave him all the information that had been produced from previous study committees that have reviewed it. And so there was a needs study that was done, and all the staff was asked to provide what their maximum needs were in terms of space and things of that nature. And we also made them aware that if we were to stay here, there would be certain things that should be taken into consideration because the Board of Education will be moving out. If we do the Armory project, then the Recreation Department will move out. We'd like to see the Armory used for the registrars and also the Veterans Administration representative, and also possibility as a voting place. So he was given those considerations. We did a top-to-bottom visit. He went around and inspected the entire building, and hopefully he'll have a preliminary presentation hopefully for this Thursday. But it might be too soon for this meeting, but we made him aware that they're meeting again this Thursday, so hopefully he'll have some preliminary indication of what he thinks about this building.
Sounds good.
And in the meantime, I'm sorry, may I proceed? We're also meeting with Ellen tomorrow or next week, and we're going to go over and come up with a set of specs for the removal of gravel from the Safety Street property.
Has that been lumbered?
No, it has been forested in the past, but it was only selective for lumber.
Okay, item 8 is staff reports. We have in your package economic and community development. You have the building officials, ZEO report. I don't think you have a town planner's report. You have an assessor report, and we'll get to the town administrator report later. Are there any questions on any of the reports?
I had one for Delta, but she's not here. Maybe you can answer.
Go ahead, I'll try.
Bid for the brownfield pilot program, Cargill Mills. We're supposed to have a bid through CME, and was wondering where we stand on that.
Did it give a date on that?
Yeah, I thought we were going to have it at the
I'll follow up on it.
Any other questions on any of the reports?
For Doug, item number 3, after WPCA, that's number 3, the financial condition
Yeah.
prepared to report at Tuesday's selectmen's meeting.
You have a document that was handed out tonight.
Yeah, okay. And how about item number 7, clean energy initiatives?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I have an update on that. We have reviewed the solar farm RFP to put solar panels on the municipal solid waste landfill. The RFP has gone out or is in the process of going out, and the RFP due date is February 20th. So we'll have that to come back for consideration by the selectmen. At the same time, we had a meeting this morning. As you know, you authorized the mayor to sign a non-binding letter, memorandum of understanding, whatever, with Green Power Solutions for the anaerobic digester at Miller's Farm. We met with them this morning. They had a revised letter, non-binding letter, which the mayor signed this morning. But we also informed them that because we're doing this thing in terms of the solar farm, and based on other towns' experience with what happens when you bring in a solar farm, that they really reduce the electric rates that the town is charged, that we want to sort of put this into the mix, because we don't want to sign off on the anaerobic digester at a, let's say it's 2 cents more than what the solar farm would be thing. So we told them that we're going to be receiving this proposal on the solar farm by February 20th, and so they understand the process that we have to follow in terms of trying to get the best rates. What they explained to us is that since they have, I think they have 10 beneficial accounts that they can use to provide power, so that would be any number of the school. They also went back and they incorporated, I got the permission from through the superintendent's office to include the school in their calculations, because they are one of the bigger users in town. So they were able to get the usage from the schools, and they're going to incorporate that into their calculations. And so, we'll have a good mix at the time. So even if we don't use their 10 beneficial accounts, because we could use that, we could use the solar farm for those accounts, they said they could also designate some of our smaller accounts to be included under that. So for whatever we can't use, we got, what was it, 1 million megawatt?
Yeah.
1 megawatt.
1 megawatt.
1 megawatt. So whatever that's generated from 1 megawatt in terms of our usage, it might take up all of our energy, electric usage in town. So that's included in the calculation of all the. Right now we sort of have a wealth of possibilities here in terms of
which is good.
Clean energy. So.
And he was telling Doug and I at this meeting that he thinks we could use both, him and the solar farm. And there's some legislation that he's going to research and bring it back to Doug and myself to see if it can happen. So,
And one of the things is that along those lines is one of the things that I've been thinking about is if we could offer whatever savings that are generated by the solar farm could be used to attract businesses to our technology part. I always thought it was just municipality accounts that could be considered to be gaining these credits. But he was saying there was a instance of was it an apartment
In Bridgeport.
in Bridgeport where he got
Huge development.
a huge development where he got the same advantage, he could use the same advantage on the credits for that project. So we're going to check with our state legislature, both Representative Rivera and Senator Flexer, to see if we need anything, if not, or just to research if it's already in an existing statute or whether we have to introduce legislation to try to get that accomplished. I'm sorry.
Number 9, Doug Cutler's Town Administrator's Report. Any questions? Any comments? Okay. They were nice pictures.
I got one
Unfinished
of them in
business.
the town crier today.
One of mine too.
Was there any yours?
Sorry. Unfinished business. Winnebago Regional Tech Park.
We're opening bids tonight, and you have the groundbreaking for the YMCA tomorrow at 10. Thursday. Oh, I'm already thrown off.
Okay, you just stole my thunder, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I was
Okay.
wrong, so you
Grant
can get it right.
grant consideration and updates. We have any grant considerations?
No.
Okay, then we're going to item 12, new business. Consider the approval of granting Norman Barney Sine a temporary pistol permit.
So moved. Second.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Have any abstentions? Ayes have it, so voted.
I'm sorry, was anybody?
No, I was thinking about it, but
Yeah.
okay, now we have B, is bid openings.
Aha.
Mr. Barron is right behind you, so
Okay.
you can come up and take the chair. Pete, you want to? You want to hand them the bids there? Those are the bids over there, Pete. Anybody want a sheet to follow along?
Wow.
As long as you have it, that's all good by me. I'll be sending out messages. Owen likes to do this.
Yeah.
Pete?
I feel
Okay, you know one more this way. That's all.
Oh, we got, that's all I need.
Perfect.
I just find out where to go.
If there's an extra one. Yeah,
Is there an extra one?
can you state your name for the record?
Sure. Pete Parent from CME Associates.
Okay, Pete, thank you. This is boring, boys. But it's something you have to do. What are you waiting for?
He's giving me a copy. I need a copy of that.
We gotta wait.
Oh, and Sharon?
That's right. That's what I said. That's what I
First bidder is Milton C. Beebe and Sons.
Who's that again now?
Milton C. Beebe and Sons.
Do we get one?
His name. Milton.
Milton BB.
Are they from stores or?
I believe they're technically from Mansfield.
It's close to stores.
Stores, Mansfield.
Okay.
So their total base bid is $1,044,747.00. Their total bid for ad alternate 1 is $19,080.
Don't mind that noise in the back, I just flew up.
And completed certificate of vote, completed certificate of non-collusion, 5% bid bond, RDAS pre-qualified. You have your required bid update statement.
Forget that noise. It's a copier blowing up. If it goes into it's flame, let me know.
Students required qualification statement.
Troop 25, this is the bids to build a road that's going to go to the new tech park. And by charter, by ordinance, we have to put it out to bid. For the smart kids here, you know what that means. Everybody has a shot to get this project. And we're required to take the low bid if it meets all qualifications. We don't have to take the low bid. So that's why it takes a long time.
That's just Mr.
Yeah.
It's all the funding source.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
So all this has to be
So
recorded.
contractor compliance monitoring.
Then we
report
vote.
complete.
Not necessarily tonight, but we could.
Compliance statement RD 400-6 is complete.
20 minutes, you haven't had a fist fight yet. This is good.
Certification statement 1048 is complete.
Did they have the DAS qualification?
They do.
Okay.
And certification statement 240-Q is complete.
That's it.
Okay, thanks for the first one. Why is this taking longer than the bridge?
Because we're using different
There are
sources.
additional things.
We're
yeah.
using different sources of funding for this.
So he met all the qualifications?
They did.
We got the state involved and the U.S.
Okay.
Who is this from?
So the next bid is All Phases Enterprise out of Stafford Springs.
Say that again?
All Phase Enterprise out of Stafford Springs.
Do you know that?
I have never personally worked with them. The base bid for the roadway construction is $1,200,370. We had an ad alternate for the natural gas main extension of $130,395.
Raise the sweat.
RDS equal. We have an update statement. Contract compliance monitoring report is complete. Form AD 1048 is complete. Now we require bid bond. Your vote is complete. Your non-collusion is complete. Certification 1940-2 is complete. Qualification statement is complete. I'm not finding
The compliance statement.
compliance statement RD 400-6. Um,
Yep.
Feel better, Scott?
What bids did we get in there? Six?
Next bidder is Suhaki.
Sure, spell it, please.
Suchocky.
Preston?
Anything?
Suhaki and Son.
Preston?
Yes.
You know, I take my job as being a selectman seriously. $100.
Yeah, basically for roadway construction, $1,376,635. We had an add alternate for the natural gas main extension of $43,500.
Don't see too many of those anymore.
What vote was that?
Certificate of vote. Certificate of non-inclusion.
They still have them at the
EF
Methodist Church.
qualification and complete statement.
Downstairs.
Contract compliance monitoring report was complete.
Which one?
Contract compliance monitoring.
What?
Pay attention.
Compliance statement RD 400S is complete. Form AD 1048 is complete. 5% bid bond is required. Form 1940-Q is complete. And their qualification statement and references are.
Did you have the update statement?
Yes. Certificate of vote is complete.
Wow, we're going the wrong direction. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, I mean,
Next bidder is B&W Paving and Landscaping from Mystic.
B&W Landscape.
Paving and
Paving.
They have two different divisions.
It was the paving division.
They require bid bond. We have a base bid for roadway construction of $902,500.
902?
I know too. Yeah. What's the second one?
Haven't given it.
$902,500. Their add alternate for the natural gas main is $72,500.
There you go.
Understand that?
I like it.
Did you ever do business with these guys?
We've done quite a few projects with them. Certificate of vote is not
Landscaping
applicable.
side. I'm sorry, what?
Certificate of vote is not applicable.
Why is it applicable on all the rest of it?
They're not a corporation, they're an
Oh,
LLC.
okay, gotcha.
Certificate of non-collusion is complete. Compliance monitoring statement is complete. Compliance statement RD 400-6 is complete. Form AD 1048 is complete. Form 1940-Q is complete. Qualification statement. References are complete. pre-qualification and update statement are in order.
Looking good. See a couple of holes.
Next contractor is VMS Construction.
Say that again?
VMS Victor Michael. They are Vernon.
What's the four working consequences?
The base bid for roadway construction is $1,039,000. And add alternate gas main extension of $30,000. Typical road is complete. They want to do these complete. The bond is in order. Contract compliance monitoring report is complete. Bond statement, RD 400-6 is complete. Form 80-1048 is complete. Form 1940-2 is complete. Qualification statement and references are complete. And DAS pre-qualification and bid update statement are in order.
Last one, fellas.
The final bidder is Gerber Construction from Ellington. Bid bond is in order. Okay, the total base bid for the roadway at $880,000.
880,000. That's right.
And an add alternate for national gas main of $20,000.
He's already out there.
It seems he's got all the qualifications.
There's DAS qualification and bid update statement is in order. Contract compliance monitoring report is complete. Compliance statement 400-6 is complete. AD 1048
1942.
1940-2 certification statement, and certainly probably going to
This one's unforced.
You guys do business with these guys?
We have never worked with them before. They are, of course, the contractor for Y. So that moves some of the necessary coordination between the Y contract and the other thing. Form 1940-2.
There you go.
Get the notice to award right now.
So we're gonna review all the bids.
We will review all the bids because we've never personally worked with Gerber, and I don't believe the town has an existing relationship with them. We looked at a minimum of 3 references.
Actually, they have worked with them.
No.
They did the CLMP show.
Well, if they can build a shop, they're good enough to do it.
That was only $12,000. Remember that first two? Yep, that was it.
Recommendation.
Glenn?
That's good. So do you want, can you make an award pending his
Pending
review,
his
the lowest
review.
responsible bidder?
I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion made second to award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder.
Gerber.
Predicated on.
The review.
Right.
Any questions? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
And we're happy with those.
Thank you very much for your time, and you only put 3 of the Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts to sleep. Okay, item 12C, General Government Finance Update. You have any on that, Doug?
Yes. You have in your hand, thank you. I think you were handed out a document that shows this is what will be presented to us, presented to the Board of Finance at their meeting next Monday. But I thought you would be happy to take a look at it too. After a lot of review and going back and forth with department heads, this is as best as we can get based on the work that Paul Washington did to give us a unaudited budget actual for fiscal year 2013-2014 ending June 30th. So the front page is all the departments without all their sub-accounts, and it shows the budget and the expenditures. You note there are some areas where certain things where we're over a little bit. For instance, Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, those reflect primarily overtime expenses that were allowed. Elections, again, that's kind of to determine that is kind of sometimes it's problematic because we have referendums that sometimes are scheduled and that's not taken into account. The legal counsel, again, we've seen an increase in terms of our legal counsel costs, and that's primarily the town attorney's expenses. Going down further, essential services, that was primarily data processing and copy supplies. You see that we were really under in terms of our fringe benefits, and that's basically our health insurance.
Tell us about that.
I don't know, I'd have to go back and do a little bit more research. I was looking.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. So.
Those are big numbers. I mean, we stay there.
Yeah.
Like
And
I say, the probate number should be right on. So I don't understand why we're off.
the Public Works, 43,000, that has come down significantly when we initially thought what it was going to be. And that was primarily, we were over on the salt account by $28,000. Truck repairs were over by $9,000, and extraordinary repairs were over by $8,000. The reason that it's only 43,669 is that he was under in some accounts, like on payroll and overtime. So it's not as bad. And again, accounting for last year's winter and unfortunately truck repairs and extraordinary repairs. So this will be good, and as you can see, I think all told, we're basically 180,000 when all three items are included. I'm sorry, 4 items are included: the library, the Board of Education capital, and the Board of Education. We're up by $180,000 over what the actual budget was. So we didn't spend $180,000. Then you go around the revenue side, and you see we did quite well on revenue. We're up on even on the collector revenue. That's our property tax and personal property. Town clerk was up significantly, $50,000. General government, $1 million, and that reflects the Wheelabrator, the ash money from Wheelabrator. So we're very conservative on that. As you know, we were in negotiations with Wheelabrator, and so we didn't want to be overextend ourselves in terms of how much we thought we were going to get from Wheelabrator during that period. The assessor's office and building official, we're up $53,000 over what we had budgeted. Rents were up, miscellaneous were up. The only thing we're down is on tax grants, and those are primarily our pilot expenditures. So if you take a look at what the bottom line is in terms of revenue over expenditures, and what we had to make a transfer to the ash landfill surplus, which comes out of that, whatever the variance there is, the $1 million. You're basically left with a net budget of almost $580,000. So you go over to the last page. I'm sorry, the last page. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What about the Board of Ed? They were over 205. Is that receiving less grant money from the state?
Right. That's the income, right? We receive less. And then you go on the next page, and that's the fund balance that we currently have of September 1st, 2013. And then the estimated available fund balance on 6/30/13 of $3.9 million.
Is that the ash landfill closure fund?
No,
What
that's
is this?
just our fund balance. That's basically our surplus. Then the estimated fund balance of 6/30/13 is the 3.9. So normally what we do is we take 10% of the budget, and that year was $21.9 million. So 10% of that is 2.1, which we'd like to hold in reserve. That doesn't get touched for any purposes except for major emergencies. And so what we've done in the past is we've basically calculated an estimated balance available as of 6/30/14 of $1.7 million. So that could be used if you wanted to, but we could go back and could you just kept in the.
You keep it in surplus.
Yeah.
Use if you wanted to. You can always use some.
The other thing is some consideration is maybe we want to bump up that percentage instead of being 10%. Maybe we want to make it 12%, but that's a Board of Finance call.
So I'll make that recommendation to you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what happens is an emergency turns up, a non-emergency item becomes an emergency kind of thing, and it gets spent. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have for emergencies, but.
So then you go over to the last page, which is the line item transfers. So because we had such a significant under on the fringe benefits, what Paul has done is said, this is the recommendation of the Board of Finance, is that for all the accounts to balance them, that we're over the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, the elections, the legal counsel, essential services, public works, and outside agencies. Take whatever where we're over there and use some of the fringe benefits to balance everything out. So we actually have less in that account of fringe balances, but it balances out all the other accounts. The negatives. So.
And we would have still spent $120,000 less than the budget.
Right. So I wanted to give you that because I was concerned, I know the mayor was concerned, I know you've been concerned, I know the Board of Finance has been concerned. So a lot of work has gone into this, a lot of back and forth with our department heads to try to get these accounts straightened out.
So when will we officially close last year?
Right now, the Board of Ed is closed.
Right.
The WPCA accounts are closed. General fund, barring, any major changes there, we're close to closing on the general.
So all in all,
The only thing that's left up in the air right now is our special accounts. And we've been going back and forth in terms of that's your ash landfill funds, those are your grant, your project. So, we've been working with the auditors in terms of getting those closed out.
so do we have a deadline per se? on trying to get
I
this
don't think
accomplished?
what we plan to do is to give them a preliminary report as of their meeting next month, but to come back with the final audit at their meeting in March. But, this is
I know it's a
this is
process.
about as good as you're gonna get on
I know, but
on the general.
you want to close.
I know you wanna close, but
Okay, moving along. Item
What's
D.
a good report?
thank you. Not that I had anything to do with it, but, except on the fringe benefits.
Okay, item D, fringe. Armor use, discussion, possible vote. I think you made a good point about the armory, the things that are going on there, and we'll wait for the architect's report, do any action on that. Consider the...
Well, just, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just to give, because the town attorney and I are working on this, and we need to set some guidance as to what approach you want to take. Whether it be town controlled or...
The town has to control them. All these other groups now, and the Little League, and they're in there, Willie, but it'll come under the auspices of the town.
Okay.
The town building, the town property. Do you feel better now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
What did you figure?
Well, they, as you know, they came with an approach where they're already going out and they're engaging an architect and all this other stuff, and,
Well, I think that's what the agreement was, is they're gonna do all that footwork and stuff, but we still control what happens in that building.
Well, the thing is that we have a process we do in terms of selecting who we use for architect and those types of professional
Yes.
services.
I think that's separate.
I don't know, it's their dime, so,
Yeah.
Even if it's a donation, I mean, I see this as they're donating.
I think there's,
I don't know, I'd have to get a definition as to whether this is
You're
considered
gonna
a
have to
town
ask
project.
Bill if they have to bid it out
Right.
according to our,
but
they did it already?
Well, I don't know, they probably had, I don't know if they had
No, if they did, it's not
An engineer or
taxpayers'
architect.
money, it's their money.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some sort of lease agreement that has to be done, or some sort of
Well, that's the
agreement.
question, do you want a lease agreement, or do you want the town to have the building and then work with these, in an agreement? As opposed to them leasing it, and then we'd be a renter.
Memorandum of understanding, would that do it?
That's what I'm asking for guidance on.
A lease to me is a bad situation
Yeah, I
because,
didn't mean that word.
Yeah.
okay,
That wasn't the word I really meant.
I think the intent of all those groups is very good. And I think Willie Blisket over there and the registrars, very good. It'll open up space here. But as far as who's controlling that building, it has to come under the town.
Well, I've seen instances in researching this, like in West Haven, they have a concessions, like we do at St. Marie Green Hall. They lease that to a organization, they take it on, they take on all the responsibility for the operation of that particular building, but it's a concession building. The other examples I've seen, which is most prominent, is that the town controls the building, even if they're developing a building, let's say, a brand new building. And what they do is they work with these other organizations to come up with agreement as to, but it's a town project.
That sounds fine.
Okay.
Okay?
And then you got to see if it's suitable to them.
Yes,
After all, they are putting the bill.
I understand.
Okay, item E, consider the approval of a proclamation naming March as National Nutrition Month.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for coming, fellas.
We'll
You'll
wait.
sign anything for your merit badge, man.
I'd like to thank you guys for having us.
Hey, appreciate it, glad you guys came.
Morning, meeting.
Yeah, I was thinking when I saw how packed it was, this was the right choice.
All you leaders, thanks a lot for bringing those guys in.
Thanks.
Okay, I signed the proclamation, Denise has it. We, still have to vote. I went last year there, and it's a nice thing to go to the hospital, and they eat fruits and nuts with those people. It's a lot of fun. No wine, no chips. So we need a vote to. No one made a motion.
I did.
I made a motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Consider the reappointment of Democrat George Tangeris.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Consider the reappointment of Democrat George Tangeris.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Consider the reappointment of Democrat Abby Olson.
Second.
Scott made the motion, Doug Cutler, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna go slower now. Consider the reappointment of Sean Fagan to the housing.
Second.
All those in favor of Sean?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? J, consider the reappointment of unaffiliated Bruce
So
Fitzpatrick.
moved.
Second.
Motion made, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Consider the reappointment of unaffiliated Stephen Foshee, Parks and Rec.
Second.
Motion made, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Consider the reappointment of Republican Norm Parent.
So moved.
Second. Jumped all over that one.
Wow.
All those in favor of Norm?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Can you tell we like him?
You do. M, consider the
We're not
reappointment
prejudiced.
of Democrat Jamie Heath.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. Okay, Jamie Heath. Approval of bills.
Motion we pay all approved bills.
Second.
Motion made, second, approve all bills.
All were.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Next week we gotta
Before we
come-
get on to the citizens' comments, I just want to refresh the Board of Finance of the projects that are ongoing right now. We've got a $36 million high school renovation is new. Right now, it won't affect the taxpayers. We have a water, pipe, and sewer, $40 million. It's no taxes, but it'll be a user fee. We have the bridge. Most of the money's in, so it won't cost. We have the YMCA, no cost to the taxpayer. We're looking at a solar farm. That'll be no cost to the taxpayer. We have a
That'll be a
manganese
benefit.
and iron station. It'll be a user fee, no tax increase. We have a tech park, which is, we're really gonna work on Delphi to get that thing marketed. We have Cargo Falls Loft, that's could be a real benefit. Sidewalks, I talked to Jerry Bosley last year. I put in the budget and you approved $500,000. Jerry's got it on his desk, ready to get going. A caveat to that is Generations are gonna do the sidewalk in front of their whole building on their dime. So that it's a good move there, because that thing is deplorable. So it's like halfway to the hospital and halfway up to King, so we may add some stuff in here. This morning, Elma entered a little agreement with Charlie Pius. For those who know, Charlie is the owner and CEO of Nutmeg Container. He gave a donation of $5,000 to Pride, and he gave
I don't know
some,
you
a
that exact
couple
number
thousand
35,
Daily
I think,
Bread,
35.
and another couple thousand, just out of the goodness of his heart.
to know. No.
Willie Buskett and I are going to see Tom Borner tomorrow. We went to Wheelabrator and got, I think, $8,000 from them for the summer thing. Remember last year was Real Diamond? So now we're going to go see Tom tomorrow. As you know, the YMCA ribbon cutting is tomorrow. Hope all you guys can make it. Thursday, 22nd.
You and Doug will be there.
We had it in the paper on Tuesday on the
Okay.
North Bulletin.
And for those who have not gone yet, and Renee, you're one of the first sinners of this,
Huh.
if you looked at what these Tully Construction's doing, those guys are going mock speed. Unbelievable how much they've done. And they worked on Martin Luther King Day.
I saw him.
Wow.
So did I. And the next upcoming event will be May 25th. It'll be the Memorial Day Parade. So that's all I have to report. That's
Unless you
all.
have an opening of a
Yes, sir.
company.
There, I think that you have in front of you a letter from the State Department of Transportation. So
Right.
if it's possible, could I get this added to the agenda for consideration? Have the mayor sign this is just the portion of the project relating to the town design agreement.
So what we have to.
So moved.
So moved.
To add it.
To add it.
Yep.
Okay, there's a motion to add,
I didn't, thank you.
I thought they were Republicans.
That's
That's all right. That's all right. To add the letter from the state of Connecticut to put on the agenda.
Again, this is just for the portion of the project relating to the town design, so for us to move forward, we have to get this agreement signed with the state of Connecticut. Just for your information, the estimated municipal cost is $298,000. The federal share of that is $238,400. The municipal share, which is 20%, is $59,600. And so we'll get a reimbursement based on this portion of the agreement of $238,400. And we've already contemplated the municipal share through our 5-year capital plan.
Okay.
Any more discussion or any questions? Doug?
On this item?
Yeah.
You need the motion to approve, yes,
Right.
and we add it to the agenda.
Yes, we had a motion to add it to the agenda.
That the resolve that the mayor is authorized to sign the agreement entitled Agreement between
Okay,
the
so
and the town.
all those in favor of adding this to the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We need the motion to authorize you to sign. I'll make that motion.
Second. Second by Doug.
Sure.
Discussion. All those in favor of having the mayor sign this document?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody's lip sealed from Tootsie Roll Pops?
Ah.
I saw
Here's
it.
the guy. 5, 10, 15, don't matter how many.
That's it.
I wonder how many he has at home.
Oh, baby.
one, the whole meeting.
Any other legal business
How many
come
do you
before
have
this
before?
board?
Yes, question
Doug.
for you. Voting. We're able to talk to Bill about possibly rearranging the districts. Because I know the charter says we need to have 2 voting
Two.
districts,
But it
and they
does-
need to be separate.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it actually says who needs to vote where. So if the people of West Putnam would rather stop here at Murphy Park rather than driving through Putnam, then they could vote wherever District 1 votes. And then the people of East Putnam, instead of voting over at the town garage, perhaps could vote at the new fire station.
I think that makes sense. Who would have to initiate that, us or the?
I think it has to be done by ordinance. I don't think you have to change the charter, because charter just says 2 districts. I don't think it sets the boundaries of that.
So the orders would be, the residents of West Putnam will now vote in District 1.
And we'll change the boundaries of District 1 to include West Putnam.
Right.
That's it.
Was
As far
that
as
in
the
the codification?
the firehouse?
No,
Yeah.
I thought it was.
There,
We started talking about West
Right.
Putnam as being part of this as far as voting.
West Putnam
That
would join
was-
District 1 instead of
Right.
District 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as the firehouse, which I thought was a great idea, both registrars poo-pooed that. They said it's a bad idea.
Who did?
the
For both
registrars.
registrars.
Why?
And, let me finish, I would say the town elders, they were very nervous about that because of fire trucks. They were, I don't know, I still think it's a good idea, but
Well, we designed it, so,
Right.
and you guys saw it, that there's a community side
Yeah.
and there's an operations side.
Right.
And we don't see a problem.
Well, the only downside is that the parking is on the operations side, not the community side. Is
Both
there?
sides.
We have
Okay.
parking for operations and parking for community.
I don't know who
Okay.
you're talking about. If there was a light there, it might be acceptable. I think it's a great idea. I think we utilize that unit, utilize that building, it's brand new,
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. And it brings Fox Road, whatever, that garage can stay open, and don't bring all that stuff down here to Church Street.
Right.
So we'll,
That makes sense, I mean, really. West Putnam being part of
here,
our
and
voting
then
district.
East Putnam should vote in the
In
new
Putnam
firehouse.
Lane, in Putnam Lane.
Okay, so we have to, do we need a motion to make, to,
Let me bring it back here then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I got another question. We're gonna have a groundbreaking for the tech park?
Yes, after we didn't want to steal YMCA's thunder. So as soon as that's over with, we'll set a date.
Once we pick our bidder.
So we're not gonna do it Thursday.
Once we pick the guy.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
pick the
Pick the guy.
road, pick
Right.
the guy.
Yeah, we can do both.
Yeah, good idea.
You got a question, Mr. Benoit?
No.
Okay.
I was just wondering what we're going to do as far as doing the YMCA, then doing the...
Well, we'll get them out of the way tomorrow, or Thursday. And then we'll wait for this fellow to come back with a recommendation. We'll vote on the recommendation, and then we'll set a date for our groundbreaking. Okay. Public comments.
Oh, I got.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Tomorrow I'm attending a meeting, instead of going to a staff meeting, I'm attending a meeting of a number of different communities, and we're going to be talking about technical assistance that's going to be provided by the USDA for the towns to come together to set up a microgrid. So basically, when the power's down and CLMP is not providing power, there's a possibility that they could set up these microgrids and use solar power, hydroelectric power, other types of alternative energy to bring up, let's say we could bring up the whole downtown and the hospital before the main grid comes back online. So we're having this meeting tomorrow to find out more about it. So.
Is this a whole statewide project?
Mr. Barrett.
It's just for rural areas.
Yes, John Perry, 11 Bull Street. Has CLP talked to you guys about upgrading your street lights?
No.
'Cause I know I've seen it on the news that they're going, trying to get some of the towns to upgrade their lighting to the LEDs.
Didn't they, I know they lowered the wattage years ago when we had the big energy crisis in the 70s, but I think they're awful. I mean, a candle is brighter than these lights. But and with solar farm coming, with the green Miller Farm manure tip energy, and a lot of towns are doing that. I see the reports just in Putnam. There were 18 to 20 building permits, 6 solar panels on the roof. So, more and more and more people. You would think CLMP would lower their rates, but they're talking about a rate hike. So they're going to put themselves they're going to put themselves right out of business.
And the Solar City's calling everybody. Everybody I talk to in business, like in Putnam.
Sure.
Solar City's calling them. They called me 3 or 4 times already.
Except you guys on the school board building committee, I don't see solar panels on that new addition.
Tell them why. It's because of where it stands in terms of the sign.
Facing the wrong way.
Wrong way.
So we have one side of the building?
The main peak is not in the right
roof
way.
area.
Yeah.
On the face itself.
We talked about it.
Talking about it.
But see,
We did.
this guy came up with a better idea, solar
What is it?
farm out of the Lash landfill.
It makes sense, but I mean,
We
you have
didn't have it 20.
there's no place for this. I only worked here for 30 some odd years, and the sun blasted through the window I was in. It must have been on the northeast side or something.
South is the way to go.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, you
You got
know.
'em.
I know, I got them. 99% self-exposure. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Anybody else have a comment?
A question, I just wanted to reiterate my initial question and that about the codification. It's just a mystery to me. I mean, I don't know what it means. So could you explain to me in layman's terms, what is the codification? How does it relate to the charter? I'd rather hear it from you, Doug.
I need his permission.
Yeah, his permission. Okay, thank you. Maybe I can have his permission?
I was waiting for another nasty comment like you did last month.
Oh, well, that may come later.
You better
but
watch
that-
what
but-
you're saying. Go ahead, Doug.
What we've done in the past is basically, when we adopt an ordinance, it just gets put into a file with all the other ordinances. What you do with codification is you go to a firm that specifically specializes in putting together all those ordinances into a uniform code. And that's what it basically is doing, is we're putting all our ordinances that have been adopted throughout the years into a unified code. So that when you come up and you ask me, what about emergency management? I know you've been looking at emergency management. What authorization does the town have for emergency management? Instead of going down and trying to research with Sarah what it is, you can go online. You'll be able to go online and say, look up emergency management in the index, and that ordinance will come up. And it's in a logical fashion, so, and all the fees, instead of being spread out throughout all the various planning commission, the building officials, all those fees will be in one page that you can go and say, okay, what do I pay for a parade permit, for instance? And the initial, it's just like the United States, the document that controls everything, of course, is the charter. So the charter is the primary document. That will be the one right in the front in terms of the code. And then what follows after that is administrative legislation, which deals with setting up the planning commission. There was an ordinance to set up the planning commission. There was an ordinance setting up inland wetlands. And then it goes into general legislation, which deals with, WPCA and all those things.
Right, and also, just if you, let's say before you moved to Putnam, you live somewhere in Arkansas, but they also had their town code done by the same company, it would be the same numbering system. So if you knew,
So it's a Dewey Decimal System.
Sort of.
Codification
Yeah.
that's uniform, that basically makes it more efficient and easier to reference.
yep,
Thank you, that's what I wanted to know. Mayor Fontaine, no insulting remarks tonight, you get 5 gold stars.
Oh!
You get
5 gold stars? What is that?
Yeah, but he started at a deficit.
All those in favor?
I'm sorry, who made the first one?
Right here. There's only one. One, adjourn. I'll be right.